Knowledge Adventure. Have fun. Get smart.
Welcome to the main menu of Navigator, the easy way to get to know and use.
Hey there, welcome to Kids Zoo. Ready to click on someone your own size? Come on into the Animal Dictionary. Click on the camera to play the Photosafari game.
A. B. Beaver. Bobcat. Alligator. Baboon. Bison. Brown bear. Ant. Bald eagle. Blue-footed booby. Butterfly. B. C. Calf. Camel. Cat. Caterpillar. Chameleon. Cheetah. Chimpanzee. Cow. Cub. Leopard. Cub. Bear. Crab. C. D. D. Dog. Donkey. Duckling. E. Elephant. Elk. F. Fawn. Flamingo. Fox. Frog. G. G. Giraffe. Goat. Goose. Gorilla. Grizzly bear. H. Hawk. Hippopotamus. Horse. I. Impala. J. J. Jellyfish. K. Kangaroo. Kitten. Koala. L. Lamb. Lemur. Lion. Lioness. Lobster. M. M. Manatee. Meerkat. Marmot. Mongoose. Moose. N. Narwhal. O. Orangutan. Ostrich. Owl. P. P. Panda. Peacock. Pelican. Penguin. Pig. Polar bear. Porcupine. Porpoise. Puppy. Q. Quetzal. R. R. Rabbit. Raccoon. Rattlesnake. Rhinoceros. S. Seahorse. Sea lion. Shark. Snail. Spider. S continued. S. T. S continued. Squirrel. Starfish. Swan. T. Tadpole. Tiger. Tiger. Tortoise. Toucan. Turtle. U. Unicorn fish. V. V. Vulture. W. Whale. Whale. Wildebeest. Wolf. X. Xenops. Y. Yak. Z. Zebra. A.
Try to get all the way to 92.
Click on the striped cat that likes to eat jackrabbits. Bobcat. You're right. Click on the monkey who can open its mouth very wide. Baboon. You're right. Click on the white-headed bird that's a symbol of America. Bald eagle. You're right. Click on the wild ox that looks like a big cow. Bison. You're right. Click on the flying insect that starts life as a creepy, crawly caterpillar. Butterfly. You're right. Click on the big rodent that chops down trees with its teeth. Beaver. You're right. Click on the bird that has funny-colored feet and a funnier name. Blue-footed booby. You're right. Click on the reptile who's related to a crocodile. Alligator. You're right. Click on the big brown mammal that naps all winter. Brown bear. You're right. Click on the brown insect that moves in groups called colonies. Ant. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the house pet that meows and loves to play with a ball of yarn. Cat. You're right. Click on the baby animal that loves to eat honey. Cub. Bear. You're right. Click on the speedy cat that runs faster than any other animal. Cheetah. You're right. Click on the farm animal and its baby that both go moo. Cow. You're right. Click on the baby mooing animal by itself. Calf. You're right. Click on the baby cat that has spots on its fur. This is your score so far. 15. Cub. Leopard. You're right. Click on the animal with a hump or two on its back. Camel. You're right. Click on the crawling insect that turns into a butterfly. Caterpillar. You're right. Click on the reptile that changes color. Chameleon. You're right. Click on the sea creature that has claws for hands. Crab. You're right. Click on the very friendly smart ape that can use tools. Chimpanzee. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the spotted baby animal that grows up to be a deer. Fawn. You're right. Click on the yellow baby bird with a bill. Duckling. You're right. Click on the pink bird that likes to wade in shallow water. Flamingo. You're right. Click on the furry house pet that can hear sounds that you can't. Dog. You're right. Click on the big mammal with a trunk for a nose. Elephant. You're right. Click on the smart animal that sometimes outfoxes hunters. Fox. You're right. Click on the amphibian that can jump from place to place. Frog. You're right. Click on the animal that's related to a horse. Donkey. You're right. Click on the animal with antlers on its head. Elk. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the quiet animal with a very long neck. Giraffe. You're right. Click on the eye animal that leaps its way around the plains of Africa. Impala. You're right. Click on the big furry mammal that has babies called cubs. Grizzly bear. You're right. Click on the African ape that is gentle and shy. Gorilla. You're right. Click on the animal that gives us milk and has kids for kids. Goat. You're right. Click on the very big relative of the pig that sometimes sleeps in the mud. Hippopotamus. You're right. Click on the four-legged animal that people love to ride. Horse. You're right. Click on the bird that glides in the sky. Hawk. You're right. Click on the bird that's related to ducks and swans. Goose. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the crustacean that crawls along the ocean floor. Lobster. You're right. Click on the baby cat. Kitten. You're right. Click on the water creature you can see through. Jellyfish. You're right. Click on the animal that gives us wool and goes baa. Lamb. You're right. Click on the animal that jumps its way around Australia. Kangaroo. You're right. Click on the big cat that does a lot of hunting and makes a good mother too. Lioness. You're right. Click on the big cat that grows a mane of hair around his neck. Lion. You're right. Click on the monkey that has dark rings around its eyes. Lemur. You're right. Click on the grayish bear that isn't a bear and only... Click on the grayish bear that isn't a bear and only eats leaves from eucalyptus trees. Koala. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the animal that is sometimes called a sea cow. Manatee. You're right. Click on the animal with antlers that's the biggest member of the deer family. Moose. You're right. Click on the biggest bird in the world. Ostrich. You're right. Click on the member of the squirrel family that looks like a beaver. Marmot. You're right. Click on the sea creature whose long nose makes it look like a unicorn. Narwhal. You're right. Click on the animal that hoots in the night. Owl. You're right. Click on the reddish-brown animal that's so dangerous it isn't allowed in some countries, even in zoos. Mongoose. You're right. Click on the great ape that loves fruit and walks on all fours. Orangutan. You're right. Click on the friendly little animal with a tail who eats insects and spiders. Meerkat. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the furry bear that lives around the North Pole. Polar bear. You're right. Click on the waddling bird that looks like it's wearing a tuxedo. Penguin. You're right. Click on the baby dog. Puppy. You're right. Click on the bird that likes to show off its beautiful tail. Peacock. You're right. Click on the animal that looks like it's covered with needles. Porcupine. You're right. Click on the sea creature that loves to jump and play. Porpoise. You're right. Click on the pink farm animal that snorts and plays in the mud. Pig. You're right. Click on the bird with a big beak for carrying fish. Pelican. You're right. Click on the black and white bear that eats only bamboo leaves and stems. Panda. You're right. Click on the bright colored bird that rhymes with pretzel and doesn't start with a P. Quetzal. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the animal that looks like it's wearing a mask. Raccoon. You're right. Click on the creature with no legs or arms, but a tail that can make a noise. Rattlesnake. You're right. Click on the creature with lots of hairy arms. Spider. You're right. Click on the sea animal that scares many fish, and people too. Shark. You're right. Click on the slow animal that has antennae and carries its home on its back. Snail. You're right. Click on the furry animal that has long ears and loves carrots. Rabbit. You're right. Click on the sea animal with a hooked tail. Seahorse. You're right. Click on the whiskered sea animal that can bark and clap. Sea lion. You're right. Click on the big gray jungle animal with a horn on its nose. Rhinoceros. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the striped animal that's the biggest cat of all. Tiger. You're right. Click on the reptile that comes out of the sea to lay its eggs. Turtle. You're right. Click on the blue fish that's named after a mythical creature. Unicorn fish. You're right. Click on the reptile that moves very slowly and lives very long. Tortoise. You're right. Click on the bird with a brightly colored bill. Toucan. You're right. Click on the furry animal that lives in trees and gathers nuts. Squirrel. You're right. Click on the amphibian that loses its tail as it grows up. Tadpole. You're right. Click on the sea creature that has more arms than you do. Starfish. You're right. Click on the white, long-necked bird that likes to mate for life. Swan. You're right. You're doing great. Click on the Bird that starts with the loneliest letter in the alphabet. Vulture. Oh well, try again. Xenops. You're right. Click on the sea mammal that's the largest animal in the world. Whale. You're right. Click on the wild dog whose house is called a den. Wolf. You're right. Click on the big mountain animal that asks why. Yak. You're right. Click on the horned animal that migrates along with the zebra in Africa. Wildebeest. You're right. Click on the striped relative of the horse that looks like a black and white photograph. Zebra. You're right. Click on the big bird that searches out dying animals for dinner. Vulture. You're right. Congratulations! You got them all right.
Thanks for playing Kids Zoo. See you soon. Have fun, get smart.
Welcome to the main menu of Navigator, the easy way to get to know and use your Packard Bell computer. Explore the functions of Navigator by using the mouse or the tab or arrow keys on your keyboard.